Oh, hey, welcome. Good evening. It is Wednesday night, and we are the Battle Pirates Crib here to talk to you about Battle Pirates. So we got the big crew, same as last week. Myself, BP Professor, and we got Tito
Hello, everybody.
and Dr. Death
Hello.
and Insector Gadget
So,
and Disturbed God.
Yeah. Hello, people.
That's what you are these days.
Yeah.
And Hefe.
Howdy.
And I got BP Purple Haze tonight.
Oh, very nice. Was that? Do you get a BOGO at Publix? They have Publix. They don't have Publix around there. It's BOGO at.
No, we don't have Publix.
It's BOGO at the local grocery store.
We got the beers from our beer ladder at work, so I won this one because the Seahawks did better than the Saints. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
a
if you
little
spend
complicated to explain.
$10.99, you get 2 6-packs. For anybody in the Publix viewing area, that's giving you the hot tips right now.
That is a hot tip. That might be a better tip than anything that we're going to do tonight. Or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, we'll talk about stuff that's been going on this week, and we'll see how that goes. All right, bug fixes. Fixed where you wouldn't get the old blueprints from Drac bases.
Classic.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've needed any of those, but I guess if you're not getting them, they ought to get them.
Yeah, I've had with the Bombard platform or one of those been stuck at 1 part out of 2 for over a year.
So is this a long time bug?
I've hit a bunch. I haven't gotten them in a long. I haven't got anything from a Drac base in a long time.
Weird.
Is anybody else?
Do you have
Or
all the rules?
The only person I know who got a blueprint from the Drac place was a Proto Nemesis right before they changed them.
All right, let's see what else we got. We got cleaned up code regarding orientation of weapon sprites. So that's visual only. Irradiated cutthroats will work with the Reaver Armada targets. So I guess kit
Yay.
size change to rogue crews is in place, and maybe we'll see some new ones. And then fixed an issue where cannoneer fleets might stop moving midway through a combat when on autopilot. Yeah, I've seen this. So it's fixed.
I don't know if it's fixed or not, but if you drive them, they stop still.
If you drive them, they stop.
yeah, I've noticed that too.
In the last of the PP1 of this new TLC, they didn't want to pass through. I was asking, and there was such a big spot there, so they could pass all through them, and they didn't want. I got to go around the fence that got one of those gates opens, and they didn't want to get through. So it's fixed in some places maybe, but not in all the game.
I wonder if that's just a problem with the map.
Maybe there is something blocked there is invisible. Could be.
All right. Working as intended. I'm not familiar with the Phantom Base hits.
For a while, starting after the update until probably about 3 or 4 hours ago, if you got hit by, if your base got hit, A wouldn't show up in your battle log, B wouldn't show up in your replays, C wouldn't show. That person wouldn't show up in your in the locator as far as recent attackers.
So,
I think they have to have bubbled you for it to not count, because I had somebody hit me and bubble me, and it didn't show, but when they hit me and didn't bubble me, it did show.
weird.
I got I had a 24-hour bubble personally after I got hit, and nothing showed up, and it doesn't appear to be, from what I read from other people, because I don't know enough. There was no metal exchange going on either.
What it was is I got hit, and that showed up in my battle log, but he didn't bubble me, so I went back and flattened his base, and that's not showing up in my battle log.
And another issue that was going on with this was the fact that, like, it happened to me twice earlier this morning when I was out, once with my Apollo fleet and also with my ironclads. I was out autoing 91s. I targeted a 91, and my fleet took off over to a sector away to hit a base.
Wow.
I mean, I'm like, what the, because I put it on auto. I tacked the thing right, and then I grabbed my ironclads and I sent them over to hit a mine. And I look down and I see the timer just ticking away, and I'm like, wait, my fleet should have already been there. I click on my fleet and it's driving. It's over in another sector, and it just ran right up and attacked the base. I was like,
I've read about that on the forum, and everybody told him that person needed new meds.
No, that actually was happening. I couldn't believe it.
Okay.
Jeff might need new meds. That's
I got issues this afternoon selecting between the Forsaken mission target and the base, but in the same sector, not sectors away. But so
no, my fleet drove a whole sector away to hit a base, and it was a dead base.
No, I tell you, your case beat all odds. That's clear.
All right. Well, let's keep talking about working as intended. As much as we do like this picture, I do like this picture. Alliance points not accruing. I noticed that. Do we think it's fixed?
According to Laredo, it was fixed. He posted something about the top 2 bullet points earlier this afternoon.
They were fixed, or they were working on those?
He said these 2 issues have been resolved.
Okay. Elite Cargo's not paying uranium. I think I hit a 100 this morning, and it showed that I got 10. I didn't check.
It shows that you get it in the flash screen, but it wasn't showing up in your base.
Okay. And that's still happening?
As far as we know.
Okay.
They've only come clean that the first 2 were fixed issues. They only like to talk about things that are fixed, not things that are broken.
Huh. Okay. Drastic drop in uranium from dubs. And that's the whole point of those. So, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I was seeing screenshots where people were only getting a couple of thousand. So.
And then relocation issues. I jumped yesterday. Worked fine. I don't know what.
Before or after the update?
I thought it was after. I thought it was last night.
Okay, yeah. From what I've seen, it seems to be a mixed thing according to the forums. I haven't tried to jump anywhere, but
yeah, it's affecting some people, but not everybody.
Okay.
But now, didn't the dubs, just to clarify, wasn't it 750 uranium per building?
Some of them were different. Like the yellow ones were 750, but the turns were 350, I think.
Yeah, but there was multiple people posting shots. They were different numbers, but they weren't. It's like some main bonus wasn't paying out, or I don't know what the issue was. I haven't hit one.
Yeah, they were only getting a couple thousand uranium from killing a whole corner. Which we know there's way more than a couple thousand uranium in a whole corner.
Yeah, it's about 70K, I think. All right. Well, let's move on. Base planner. Befe, you want to talk this one? Or?
Sure. I guess Chris had already noticed this a while ago. And the guy that has his base next to me, he mentioned something like this 3 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure what he had did to create this. But I was fooling around with my tiles, and on the top picture, this is what I put in just using the base, not using the base planner. And then I went into base planner to move some other things around, some walls and whatnot. And I got what we see in the bottom picture. And I wasn't allowed to change my base in base planner until I removed all those tiles. So it appears that the corner there, the red corner in your base, extends out the full width of that tile, and not just half of it like what it's doing in base planner. So you're basically losing a a tile from side to side.
Well, it's all the way around, because you could have put right there where you see where the corner of that, where the two red lines come together. If you do it in base, you could have put another land square right there. You can actually move your entire baseline out one square, working inside the base versus what you can working in the base planner, all the way around.
That's crap.
Yeah. So they.
Yeah, but at times if you
Chris filed a ticket about this a while ago. You want to talk about that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. Hold on. All right, I found it. Now I gotta wait for it to load.
Okay.
So it was more of we're looking into it as opposed to it's a you issue.
No, what they said was, please know that our game team is aware of the issue. Our base planner is not working as intended, and they're working on it. Your patience is highly appreciated while they further look into this. They never answered my actual question as if it was against the terms of service, or like if it was the doing the tiles that weren't connecting on two sides, just on the corners.
Mm-hmm.
But they never really answered me. So
yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, what they threatened to ban people over that other one.
Yeah,
that's why
I'm
I
not
was
sure
like,
which one you get banned in. At this point, you get banned and putting things in for your base if it doesn't agree with the base planner. So it seems like something they ought to work out.
Yep.
But yeah, this is something I know. I've ran into a couple bases that have exploited this. You know, you can actually expand the entire base out an extra land tile, all the way around. So,
I mean, is it an exploit or is the base planner screwed up?
that was my question, and they never answered me.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you can put a piece of land down using the proper interface in your base, right? Say build land, put it here. You know, that's not an exploit. That's just Kixeye screwing up. Right?
Yeah,
That's the way
but
I see
this
it.
is Kixeye. They're not going to know the difference.
yeah, but here's the thing, all right. For the people that are using this and expanding their base out, that full tile space extra, you know, so like you can't snipe inner turrets and you can't snipe ships and stuff like that from the outside. The people that are actually using this, the way they're doing it is they're going in and the build system inside the base itself, not in the base planner, and you're adding a water tile to where a land tile is to erase the land tile, and then moving that land tile out one. You see what I mean?
Here,
so
look,
they know that if they're in the base planner, they can't do this. So they're doing this in the game with knowledge that it's not going to be that it doesn't follow the base planner law.
But those of us who've been around the game a really long time remember that, you know, there didn't used to be a base planner. That's how it used to work, because you had to erase a tile with water and then build a new tile with land. I mean, it's in a sense everybody uses base planner, but it's still like the primary interface is build land, build water.
Yeah, see, so if you look at mine, because I should be screen sharing right now, you see how each edge is on the very end of the white line there. Now, if we exit out and we go to build...
I don't think you're screen sharing.
Oops. 1 second. He's screen sharing. I had you on present. 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you see how there's one more tile all around that I could put land tiles on.
Oh, I
But
see.
once again, if you go back to base planner, it's on the very edge.
Yep.
It's that square over there and the square on the map doesn't match.
I mean, yeah, we could say we're not going to kid ourselves and say that players that do this don't know what they're doing. But this is clearly Kixeye's error. This isn't somebody who's like, you know, standing on one leg and jumping up and down 2 times to repair a fleet. They are just putting land in their base.
I had no clue. I mean, I went and did this, and then I came back and saw in base planner. I mean, I had no clue. I asked everybody if this was old news. Some people did know about it. I didn't.
All right. Well, I think we beat this one to death. You ready to move on?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so some new stuff this week. Hellwraiths are available in the Foundry if you don't have Hellwraiths.
Focus on Larry again.
I think that our general consensus here is that if you need Hellwraiths very badly, that this is going to be really painful to do because you need to get 192 skirmish fragments and 4 Hellwraith fragments, which means you're hitting at least I hate doing math live, 64 targets at orange sector threat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot. Actually, more than 64, 66. So yeah, if we're doing math live. So yeah. Any other thoughts on this?
Yeah. Well, the first that when I came, I see this picture is why Mimico system that was tier 5 was Seal of Fire as well. That was tier 5 was moved to tier 4 to get this, and they didn't do the same with that explosive system 4 and that Judgment Mortem from tier 5 moving to tier 4 so people could get the Citadel. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh right, you got these prereqs. Yeah, at least they are tier 4. I mean, something, but yeah, they didn't do that.
But yeah, those huge numbers, especially in the fragments, this has been with every single one. And if the foundry is for people to some way get these things, I don't know if you want to do all these or just wait for one whole store and get somebody to help you and get the whole if you really want it. We're pointing here before getting this whole now for a few TLCs that if you're not a coiner, maybe you are not even going to be able because you are building other things and you will have to put some coins to build or the fleet for the raid or the fleet or this fleet to do the TLCs. And knowing that then is a tier 4, and if it's as profitable as was this time the Centurions over the Cannoneers, Ironclads, and probably the Zealous, I'm not sure I would love to invest the time that Renato posted you required to get this, because I think he said 18 hours, and unless you are retired and you can just sit there and hit those targets with help of somebody, maybe you will get damage.
Yeah, I mean the point is that if you can do enough targets to win this hull, then winning this hull isn't going to help you much.
Yeah, you don't need it.
That was my point. What we were saying before the show is that by the time you get to it and you're able to start building them, we're most likely going to be having a new sub around that time. Yeah. And the only targets you can really hit with them are Reaver Armadas. So,
yeah, I think the only reason that you would need a Hellwraith is the TLCs. So you're spending a huge amount of effort and time to win whatever randomly they're going to give you in a TLC, because you can do them with Tide Seekers, like at least Prize Pack 3 is what I'm talking about, the 1 hour one. I mean, you can do them with Tide Seekers, but you're going to spend a lot of coins in repair. But you're not going to, I don't think anybody, I've never seen or even heard of anybody being able to complete any of those Prize Pack 3 using, against those Reaver targets in an hour with the Tiger Sharks. I mean, it may have happened, but I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it'd be tricky. Okay. So yeah, I guess the short answer is if you're thinking about trying to do this. All right, and the 102, here's the target. It's a pretty big target. Anything else on this?
Well, there's another click, but this is the same one that we saw in the most recent TLC like this. This was the fourth or fifth target.
I think in the raids it was the level 73.
Yes, I never hit the
it was a 73 because the one that we are hitting for uranium is a 75, and I don't recall now the 71, but I think this is the 73 I just said.
Yeah. The other point is now originally you didn't get any uranium, but they fixed that. Now you get 47,000, which is a decent amount of uranium, and it contributes 3,500 sector points, which is the same as what we used to have with the Drac Armadas, and it's the same as with the level 75 Reaver Armadas. So it seems to be, at least I think it's an oversight. I could be wrong. That, you would think when you go from 75 to 102, there would be additional sector points earned, especially because all these targets are taking longer, and you're not seeing as many sectors go into the orange as easily because of the time required to hit these targets. People are going to hit these for uranium. They're not going to go off and hit 15 of them to get you into orange.
Yeah.
So it seems like this should be a larger number, the sector points.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, it was, even under the Drac Armadas, it was, I mean, some sectors do it a lot, but it was kind of a chore, especially if you're doing it by yourself to try and get get sector into orange.
Yeah, because
like
I think you
said,
need over 20, 75 that pays the same. So you're not doing 20. First, that it's not easy to find these ones because maybe there are 2 or 3 each sector. So if you have to rise the level just hitting 102s, good luck.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if you have to hit 20, now it's going to take you, like, if you're going solo, it's almost impossible to get the sector into orange by yourself.
Is Kixeye trying to push the player base into fewer sectors? I mean, every move they've made over the last few months seems to be geared towards you need to be in a sector that can get to orange, and in order to be in a sector that can get to orange, you need to be in a populated sector.
Yeah, but I am this week in a populated sector that is going to orange each moment, and I can tell you it has some good advantages if you're there, but also have handicaps because, man, you want to look for 97s, and you're just asking which the last one in the order for getting a 97 because all the sector is looking for 97. So if you're in a very populated place,
I'm not saying I'm not looking at the pros and the cons for it. I'm asking, is this something that Kixeye is intentionally doing, trying to push the player base to congregate into sectors? Do you see what I'm saying?
And also, just
because first they brought out that we needed to, certain targets had to have orange to light up, certain targets had to have teal, but we still had, the armadas that would spawn if we went into yellow. You know what I mean? But you could hit any sector that was in yellow and get uranium off those. Now all of a sudden you can't even do that. If your sector is not in the yellow or the orange, you can't even get uranium now. So it seems like every time they change something, it's like it's pushing more towards forcing the player base to congregate into sectors together in order to be able to achieve what needs to be achieved.
And hitting 97s, I wouldn't worry about just hitting them in your sector, Tito. You can hit them in any sector. It doesn't make a difference. They spawn all at the same time in that world, right? So you can just keep driving in a straight line.
No, I agree, but get in mind, Gadget, that if we short from 5 wars we have to 3 wars, wars that are not active are going to be more complicated to be found. I mean that it has these pros and cons to have sectors active and sectors not active. And I don't know if they are going to say something. They should be a bit more clear, maybe, if they want us to reduce the walls in which we populate nowadays.
Well, they probably could anyway. I mean, if you go out hitting bases, I mean, I know. Come Monday when I have to go and get points, I have to hit like 30 bases to find 5 that are alive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I mean, they probably could drop a whole world quite easily and still fit the active players into what's left, no problem. And maybe that'd help with some of the server issues we have. Do you know what I mean? If they had a bit more in the bank to pay for their servers, do you know what I mean?
I'm just wondering if this is something Kixeye's pushing for, though.
Well, it might be.
Gadget, the 52s tend to not always stay in the game that long.
Yeah, well, you know what? If they are going to do that, we'll be the last to know. That's just the way it is with Kixeye, right?
They haven't breathed a word of it in Town Hall. I mean,
I'm not even thinking that they might drop a world. I'm just wondering if they're not pushing, towards trying to push the player base in a direction where we're congregating together. You know what I mean? Because you're getting penalized real heavily, and every time they make a change, the penalties are even worse if you're in a dead sector.
Well, yep. All right, you ready to carry on?
You know, just one last thing. I think the way they've put that 43,000 uranium on there is going to handicap a lot of people as well, right? Because you're going to get guys like me who don't really give two shits about the Hellwraith, but are going to go out with their irradiated cutthroats and hit them for like 96 million uranium and only have to hit 3 of them to fill up. So you're going to have trouble. The guys who need the Hellwraiths are going to have trouble finding those targets because there's going to be all sorts of guys hitting them for the uranium payout.
It's so far if you compare these to the Drac Armadas, where you could go out and hit them much fast. I mean, I don't know. I've been using Hellwraiths on them.
I don't worry about that because I think Gadget would just establish that there is nobody that actually wants to go out and hit these for Hellwraiths, and if you do, you're wrong. No,
yeah, I agree. I that's what I think. I think really you'd be better off with a Harlock's Tideseeker fleet for the tasks that you're going to use the Hellwraith for.
Well,
just personal opinion.
Absolutely, but now the Tideseeker's not available. You know, if you didn't get it, it's not available. So
yeah, we get a whole store pretty soon, though, don't we? On these 3-month cycles, isn't it? Only 2 months until the whole store.
Yeah.
This rate, the next, not this rate, but next one. So not the.
Yeah, the bottom line is the whole store will be here before the end. You have a better chance of getting a Tideseeker or a Hellwraith out of it than you will out of farming these 102s.
Yeah, imagine that you're 180 and then you get the guy and say, hey, you know what? Get killed with me and I get you the points. Then what you do? You just cut your veins or you left. I don't know.
All right, let's talk the new campaigns. So we got 2 new TLCs. We got Roguelike, which is kind of a dumb name. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't like the rogues. No.
Yeah, we don't like. All right. So this is a seed type targets from the raid. I did the first round of these to get the cutthroats. They introduced the new Scavenger Scoundrels crew, which they're calling Legendary. It doubles your base part payout for the 26.
I like those words you used. They call it Legendary. Actually, it's a for a high-end employer, it's crap.
Yeah, it's a legendary lucky bastards.
I think I have more profit from a legendary bastard because I just don't worry and just roll again. But you get this and say, damn it, this is the legendary I'm going to get with this amount of uranium I have to spend. Come on, Geekside.
I'm already getting
every
that
legendary crew is useful except for the death from above. I just roll over that one.
Yeah, no, the only one I use at the moment is Demo Squad, man. Or I mean, I keep the Grease Monkeys, but I don't find myself using them very often.
I use them if I've got like a dead ghost or something, which happens quite often nowadays. I just toss it on, hit start repair, and it turns a day and a half repairs because I put 4 dead ships with it, and it's repaired by the time I wake up in the morning.
Yeah,
I normally use them on the BXP weekend to make it cheaper, but that's the only moment I use it, to be honest.
No need for me since I don't put coin into the BXP weekend. I just slow repair and then throw them back out.
I mean, I use some
really, the Demo Squad is really about the only solid 3-star crew we still got in the game because we don't get the DOS crew anymore.
Yeah, I've only seen like 3 people roll it in forever.
Are we just talking about 3-star crews or crews in general? Because there's other crews I use.
They made the DOS crew almost impossible to get to stop people from launcher Tiger Shark prepping bases.
Which you can't do because of the shortened range.
Yeah, but that's why they did it. That's when that whole thing came up. Basically, the whole thing about them making it really, really, really hard to get. Because they were like, well, that's part of the problem, so we'll just make it really hard to get, and then the problem goes away, right?
But are you guys talking about all crews? You only use the demos, or just the 3-star crews?
Just the 3-star.
Okay. Yeah, because I use some 1 and 2s quite a bit. But
the other crews I use quite a bit as well. But when it comes to the legendary crews, the only ones I really use are the Demo Squad.
My main crew that I use is Bullseye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I generally roll 1 or 2 per day when I'm rolling for crews, so.
Guy in chat just made a really good point. The true purpose of the TLC is to gather more data on how we hit the new siege targets in them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's
but
the
I'll tell
real.
you something. I want the special they have on those long ballistic range turrets. I want that special for my base defense because that's a new vision about defense.
I want that radioactive turret on my outpost.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet.
The bottom line, though, is I think most of the player base, that's here on the panel probably has tried to hit the first level of this. I don't know many people that have gone past that. The way they've got the damage jacked up in these targets is extreme, to say the least. And the people that would actually gain value from getting the scavenger scoundrels more than likely aren't going to have the fleets to be able to do it.
Yeah. I think a lot of the people that can win the scavenger scoundrels don't really need double base parts. They have an ironclad, or they have something where they just bash out a whole bunch of base parts.
Yeah, it's basically an open preview with people wanting to have something to do.
Has anybody heard of anybody that's gone past the first level, done more than the first campaign?
I haven't.
I'm gonna tonight. I did the first level and it cost me 3 hours repair, and I let it repair slowly. And after the show, I'm probably gonna do the second run through.
Yeah, it took about the same amount of damage. I did, however, notice you can bring your Omega Behemoth in to this campaign if you want.
I'm using the Harlock's Cannoneer with it.
Yeah, I don't have mine built yet, so yeah.
I scrapped mine.
I used four Cannoneers in the Omega, and I did lose the Omega on number 3 because I wasn't good enough about keeping it stopped while driving the others. But anyway, you can use it.
What did you scrap, Chris?
My Omega. Second they said you can't use it in these targets, I was like, okay, bye. I built it for dubs. I've only used it like 3 times. So I had no issue scrapping it.
All right, let's keep rolling. There's the Scavenger Scoundrels with their 100%.
Speaking of crews.
Yeah. The problem I have with this one especially is that
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. Is that it only gives you plus double base parts, but doesn't give you any resistance to anything. When the Irradiator Could Throw was called Notorious Could Throws, was giving just 100% of uranium, and it came into that problem in which people were just rolling hundreds and thousands of uranium every single day just to get demos, and to stop it, what Kixeye did was turn that Notorious Could Throw into the Irradiator Could Throw that we know. They kept the 26 minutes likely. This one has now, but at least gave to that crew that was legendary at that point plus 30 radioactive resistance. This one doesn't have anything, and honestly, this is not a crew that any high-end player is going to need, because if you have ironclads, you don't need this. And if you have more than... Because normally the people that have an ironclad is outdoing. If you have this, you want to do those 97s as fast as you can. So you are forced to play with 2. And if you are going to play with 2, you just need to... you cannot out anymore. You have to drive them. So one of them do the top part and the other one do the bottom one. So you do it faster. So I don't, and for doing it that way, you don't need to put this. You just, if you have 2 ironclads, you split them into two different fleets, and you go hit 2 97s at the same time, and you get the same results, and you repair at night, and you don't care.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of the. I don't consider this a legendary crew.
No.
Right. Anything that you have to pay for in the store is going to be a legendary crew. If you see your daily offers.
I think legendary is that I pay for this one, to be honest.
Well, what I'm saying is, I think there's sort of a trend, whether it's worth it or not, that anything that they're going to offer for you to pay for with gold, as far as buying that base parts or uranium in that store, they're gonna limit the availability of any sort of crew that would allow you to get them easier.
I'm telling
so
you,
they have
this
a
is
higher level of control.
This is going to become the legendary lucky bastards. You watch. Every time you roll a legendary crew, it's going to be this fucker here. Every single time.
Yeah. All right. Well, it would have been nice if they had a little ballistic resistance or something with this crew, I think. But
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Comments,
say. Do
maybe
30%
something?
ballistic since the cutthroats has the 30% radioactive.
Because it isn't the Lucky Bastards is a guaranteed blueprint drop, right? And it's a really short one too, right?
Yep.
Well,
If you
the
get the
one
2-star
star's
one, it's an hour.
The one
You know,
star's an
I'm
hour.
telling you, I can see me rolling this. And this is what I'm going to get instead of Grease Monkeys and Demo Squads now. Watch.
Well, you can't roll it. You can't roll it.
Yeah,
No, you
Just so
can
you,
yeah,
it'll
just
be
so you feel
coming
better, you can't roll it.
Didn't
they
they
said
say
it,
they
yeah,
were?
you
They
can
said
roll it. Yeah,
they said they were making some changes to the road crews. I'm pretty sure I heard someone talk about
Yep.
that, and I bet you when they make them changes, this is going to be rollable.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We hate it. Okay, heavy metal campaign for Mega Hull owners only, and this is Assault Legion targets like we've seen for a while. The turret damage has been amped up, I think, is the general consensus. Bullseye Brigade really helps, outranging the little scatter turrets with a. What'd you say you used? A
Retribution.
retribution. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I did a round of this and got hit pretty hard. So yeah. What do you think about this one?
I liked
I
it.
think that
It's a nice boost on the titanium.
it's a good boost on the titanium, but the guy that is this doesn't have much idea about mega chips in general, because on the second one they give you 2 advanced systems, and that is what you need for two of the to make one of those mortars or one of those cannoneers, but you have 2, so you know that build one of each of those 2 is going to take you at least 3 days. So you are during 3 days, you have a lot of chances that people steal the other one from you. So I think.
Yeah, I was looking at this. I wanted to check on what the I haven't even done my engines yet. So
The engines, I think, takes 4 and 6. So even if you do the whole pack, you still are 3 metal alloys off from doing it.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, I don't know. It definitely leads you open to getting stuff stolen. All right. Anything else in this one? Use your bullseyes.
Use your bullseye crew. The easiest way to do it is throw on a bullseye crew, run in with Apollos, drag the shifts out, and then pull your fleet back out, grab a retribution. You can leave an Apollo in there with the antis just to take care of any missiles that are still on the islands, and run some vendettas behind it, and you can kill the rest of the target damage free.
Nice. Okay. So FA put this chart together to show the amazing progression of all these hulls we've seen. They've really thrown a lot of spaghetti up on the wall for this raid type. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are wondering what the hell to build, right? They might have an ironclad or 2. They might have won the cannoneer. And it just seems like the best advice I've heard is keep building whatever you've been building.
Yeah, well, that's the issue. If you're build on one and you figure out it's not going to work by the second month, you're screwed because it's going to take way too long for you to switch over to build, say, the cannoneer if you're doing the ironclads. If the cannoneers aren't working for you and you find that out on raid 2, you've got a month to build a fleet, so you're just stuck with the fleet that's not working for you for that raid set.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was gone for a little bit. I didn't realize you'd go through the megas so quickly.
You had to actually leave for the mega slide. You actually.
Not that it was,
So you put us a like, so we suffer the slide, and you leave us to here alone. Okay.
Well,
No. What it is Hefe is the master of megas, so he didn't feel he needed to be here for any of the information that was imparted. So all you players out there that have any questions about it, you PM Hefe, and he'll be happy to answer them for you.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump in and be rude and correct Larry in any way on the megas.
We will put his Facebook profile on the comments on the video, so you can just call 24 hours a day.
Yes. Yes. In the game, my name is Carpe Diem.
Yeah.
Right. Liam99. Okay, I am not Liam99. All right.
Should I explain this? Why I put the slide together?
I have
It
one
just
question
basically,
about
unless you
it.
guys already explained it.
Well, we
I
just said there's a
basically-
lot of spaghetti they threw up against the wall.
Yeah, and it just kept on saying they kept on giving us different messages at different points in time, as far as by not having a whip and just sort of releasing stuff. We always thought this next thing was the solution. That's all. Why I put it out there.
Yeah,
Sort
I
of a
mean,
discussion point.
in retrospect, thinking that the Centurion was going to be the thing was kind of naive, right? I mean, of course they're going to bring out a new hull for the raid, but
Well, you didn't need to think. You were told that it was going to be the hull.
Yeah, it wasn't naive. It wasn't naive. Kixeye misled us. Kixeye actually told us that this last past raid, that the Harlock Centurion and Centurion fleet was going to be the fleet to go to. They actually
Unless
posted that in the
got a short
forums.
memory.
But you have to read between lines because if Kixeye tells you that that's the fleet to go, means that Kixeye wants from its tiers A that you hit to receive between 14 and 15 coins. That's what he sees as something value for him. So you have to be careful when you listen to them.
Yeah. All right.
Because
So
that was the cost.
yeah. I don't have too much more to say here. Anybody else?
Well, I think the larger picture was, I think there's, especially with the last three, there's a little bit of confusion on how to move forward, unless you guys already covered this, and we talked about it a little bit, Larry. That basically it's whatever you've already put your investment in is probably the best to go forward for the raid. Now, if you have extra shipyard time, let's say you already have a cannoneer and a Harlock's cannoneer, would you build the Ironclad or the Zealous, or if you don't have them at this point?
Well, I think that before you build one of the two, you should be careful and watch how long it's going to take, because the good Zealous build is about 16 to 18 days. And by the time you have a fleet, 2 or 3 of those, probably you are in the last raid.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even thinking of the Zealous, because the Zealous is one of the ones I'm thinking about potentially building, but building it blank for VXP weekends. Not for this raid cycle, for the next raid cycle.
That's
And
what I
waiting,
do.
waiting and seeing if they come out with another overpowered weapon for the next raid cycle for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having something that's already skulled and whatever that I can use at that point, and not outfitting just blank hulls, with Speed System 5 and probably a siege battery or something of that nature that you think would carry over to a garrison type of raid cycle. And then as far as the Ironclad, my thought is if you have extra shipyard time, it seems like the Ironclad is, it's
One
a
of those
better,
is useful, right?
one or two of them would be useful as far as what we've seen so far, as far as the base parts.
Yeah, well, we know the Ironclad right now can auto the 97s for base parts with no problem at all. And we also know that the Ironclad, and we don't know when this target will change. It could be around for a while. The Ironclad can do the dubs.
Yep.
Real easy.
But I think it's
and the standard drat bases as well for anyone who needs them for their R&D, right?
Yeah, and we don't know when those targets are going to change. We know the mines are going to change after this raid cycle, but we still to this point do not know when the dubs and the regular drat bases are changing.
Yeah.
So the Ironclad may be something of value for a while.
Yeah, Ironclad and Zealous are the ones that you're going to use. If you are going to auto those targets with the Cannoneers, you will have to just drive inside. If you are good with driving inside of those targets, you don't have a problem, because with them, just one fleet you're going to do. But if not, I suggest you build one of the last two.
Yeah.
And then there was sort of a message also sent because the Visaga's Punisher showed up. Probably should have put it a second time, since they made that as the only mid-level raid target that was available for people. At 6 million, I think it's the biggest albatross they've put around those people's necks.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to
Yeah,
have.
if you start your shipyard, tie your shipyard up for 3 weeks just to get the hull.
Yeah, that's no.
And that's the only thing that was, you either had to get, 1.5 million, 6 million, or 30 million to move on. And the Visaga's Punisher it's ruining those players.
Yeah.
That only had enough to get, that push to get 6 million. At least in my opinion.
And the main problem, the Punisher was only going good if you were doing the tier 3, right, in the last raid. So if you're going to invest 18 days on the Visago Punisher, and we hope that you already have the Punisher's build, and you can only keep doing tier 3, you're not improving at all.
Yeah, Punisher's on its way out. Punisher's been on its way out for a while. It's becoming very, very obsolete very, very quickly, and I really don't see any use for the Visago's Punisher given the build time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's not right.
Screw up. Bacon should not be on your bed.
I'm not sure which mod that is.
That's what you look like.
You can pick your mod.
Oh,
That's
God.
not me. I'm not the one that mentions bacon all the time.
Jefe, did you run out of magazines that you put this here?
Yes. I just did it to upset George.
Yeah, but George is not here, so we are suffering instead of him.
He'll watch it later.
Here, just hold your hand out right here. Just you can put your hand out.
What a waste of bacon.
That's right. All right. So, we talked a lot of scripts today. But yeah, we think the update was rough. A lot of bugs kind of lingering around and introduced, and yeah. And then I think these 2 new TLCs were kind of underwhelming in terms of the reward for the difficulty of them. Yeah.
Hollywood says that that's himself. So, Jefe, I'm not going to ask what you were doing.
All right, I'm just going to get off the slide quickly. So
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
because we'll go to the
That's
Carl's
better.
Junior girls, which we all like much better.
Yeah, that's a triple bacon burger. So there's a theme running between these two.
Right, the crumbled bacon, the bacon strips, and the bacon jelly. Just in case you forgot the triple bacon.
Yes.
Yeah, they finished the
Another one of
bargain
these
this
big.
week.
Yeah, these are not another one of the real life tips like that we gave you at the beginning. That the Abita is buy one get one free at Publix. I think only through. Oh wait, that might be over today. It was the last week, but I think that you might have to run out to the store right now in order to get that for $10.99 for 2 6-packs.
I don't think they allow specials on alcohol in these conservative Midwestern states. I'm just glad I can buy it on Sunday now.
No, that's good.
I just want to but on game aspects, I just want to say this: we're really stretching it to give Kickside this breakthrough, because with Tiger Sharks you can do a 102 damage free if you have 88 range torbs and if you're willing to spend 15 to 20 minutes on the target.
Yep.
Yeah, and counting the number you require and the hours you have to put there, I don't know.
So if you're listening, Kickside, we really had to push to find a breakthrough for you this week.
Yeah, otherwise I would have had to take their picture down, and their picture wouldn't have been there. So I did that for the girls. The ladies appreciate that. I found that little diamond in the rough for everybody to talk about.
All right. Well, I think that's it for our show. We got a short one this week. Oh, let me. Should stop sharing. There we go. Gotta find the button. My purple haze is all gone.
Uh-oh.
It's all right. Mine's not.
Where's Mrs. Professor to fetch you another one?
The fridge is right over there. It's not far. I don't need Mrs. Professor.
You need Go Gadget arms.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Well, you got. I mean, the only issue is you got wheels on your chair, right?
I do.
The only thing you need is a wireless headset. You can just zoom over and zoom back.
Yeah.
It's so far, isn't it?
He's looking back there. I don't know.
I might have to move my legs to do that.
Yeah, that'll take
Yeah.
you at least 5 steps there.
And then I got to roll
You need us to
back.
prep you the cook. Larry, you need us to prep you the kitchen so you can just conquer the fridge.
Yeah. Can somebody prep some fridges for me? I need some resources, some alcohol resources. All right.
We'll post in case anybody wants to join us. I will. I'll post a link on the right-hand side, and see if we can bring in some new blood since Larry needs to go get a beer.
Yeah, because he keeps looking back. You know he's starting to fiend.
Actually, yeah. Well,
He's going to turn off the camera, and when he turns back in, he's going to have one new beer on his hand. You will see.
Well, did you get a
might
whole,
not be hanging around for
how does your
that.
beer ladder work, Larry? Do you get a whole six pack, or do you only get a couple?
All right, so I will explain the beer ladder. So everybody took a football team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so we actually split up AFC and NFC because there were enough teams. But basically, so you take a football team. I had the Seahawks, and then at the end of the season, you have to give a beer to everybody whose team had a better record than you, and you get a beer then from everybody whose team had a record worse than you, right? So with the Seahawks, I had to give beer to the guys that had the Cowboys and the Giants. Nobody had the Falcons, and then so then I got a beer from 7 other people, and you're supposed to bring a beer from the city that your team is from. That's why I had that Elysian IPA, because that's from Seattle, and so Abita was from New Orleans, the Saints.
But New Orleans wasn't even close to being in the playoffs. That's the confusing part.
No, it has nothing to do with the playoffs. It was the whole season.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it was the record on the season, the 16-game season. Playoffs didn't matter. So that's the beer ladder, and it was fun. And I won some beers.
See, you have to improve like Hollywood here. He started with 6 packs, and now it's a keg.
I don't think we're gonna give out kegs.
It's
Trade
hard to get
kegs.
past the metal detector.
Hey, if you're giving out kegs, I'll take one.
We are not giving out.
Guys,
Well, I think I need one after what I went through today.
Okay, Jefe, go and
We'll end the
sing
show.
happy
Say
birthday
goodnight.
to Lance.
We got some folks in the hangout. Good night.
hi guys.
Good night, everybody.
Hello. Night, everybody.
See ya.
Alrighty.
Good night, YouTube.
Join us if you'd like to.
Where's everybody going?